professional in the lives of parents, a kind of a consultant. They have to choose to come see me, but they get you anyway. And I think one of the perks of being in a private school environment is you even have a better platform upon which to stand and speak to parents about what's going on with their kids. So what do disconnected parents need to hear? Just a couple of things I want to throw out, two ideas. One is the issue of time, and the second is the issue of feelings again. Regarding time, of course, what disconnected parents need to do is to be more engaged with their kids. But if you go at it broadly with them, like spend more time with your kids, that's going to feel real global and theoretical to them, and they consider themselves very busy people anyway. That's why they're disconnected, and that's going to just kind of not go well for them. I would pick something very specific and say, Dad, what's an interest you share with Billy? Or what's something that Billy really likes that you can let him teach you about? Maybe it's Nintendo, I don't know. But I would look for just really specific ways you can talk to them about engaging with the kids. Secondly, the issue of feelings. Again, feelings in a sense, well, let me put it this way. When it comes to reconnecting people in a family, a real shortcut you can give people to help them re-engage is the issue of feelings. I encourage disconnected parents to talk to their kids about what they feel. You can talk to them about their activities all day long or things that they think about all day long. If you really want to touch someone's heart, talk to them about how they feel. In other words, you and I could have a disagreement later on today about whether to get your oil changed now or not. And you'd probably forget it. But if I hurt your feelings, 5 years from now, you'd be going, remember that John Cox who came and spoke to us? You'd still remember it. If you want to engage somebody, address them at the level at which they feel. So I encourage those kind of parents, if they really want to engage their kids' hearts, a great way to make them feel known and not disconnected to is just to talk to them about what they feel. You must have felt really proud about that. Or that must have felt really disappointing. Or I know it was so hard to strike out in baseball. If you get parents just to speak to their kids about that emotional world, you short-circuit a lot of disconnection. You go straight to the heart of it. Now, little sideline. Regardless of what you say or how you say these kind of things to parents, how are parents going to tend to feel if we talk to them about how they can be doing things better? Our generation of parents, how they're going to respond. They're going to get guilty. They're going to feel like you're saying it's all my fault. They're going to start to feel overwhelmed. And remember, especially disconnected parents, the ones who have the home in Mississippi Magazine, they're hard on themselves anyway. All right, they have a very high standard for themselves. So be ready to address that flip side when you're talking to parents of forgiveness. I love to remind parents that this doesn't mean you have to be a super parent. This doesn't mean that, if you look at them cross-eyed, that they're going to be dysfunctional or something like that. These are just some ideas about how you can help do things better with them. Anyway. All right, that's the disconnected parent. Next is overprotective. This is the hovering, smothering parent. This is the my little Johnny might not be able to handle this parent. This is the parent who if the child has any bad feelings or any concerns about friends or grades or any anxiety or about the weather or whatever like that, they're panicking in a teacher conference. Okay, they cannot stand it if their child is struggling. The child can't go on the field trip without the parent being there, and they call the office with questions about liability and bringing up that newspaper article about the field trip that ended in tragedy, and they want to make sure there's a police escort and that all the paperwork is completed. Basically, these parents kind of operate on the principle that their child cannot be okay without them. All right. With older kids, these are the parents who attend practice, with the binoculars. And they're telling the coach, it's like, those boys are so big. I have a friend like this who's actually constantly talking to his child about, be careful of this, or that's going to put somebody's eye out, or that might catch you, or cut you, or here comes that Dr. Cox in that little car of his, or there's just constant, So think like a shrink for me a second. What's the issue for an overprotective parent? There are a couple of issues I think go on for them. What do you think might be going on that makes them overprotective? Yeah, exactly. One is, we can just call it, the parents have their own anxiety. Yes. Whenever I talk to parents of a child who has school anxiety, I'm always very interested in what the parent's anxiety is. Overprotective parents often have a whole lot of trouble managing their own fear about the child hurting or being lonely or struggling or the insecurities, vulnerabilities in life. And it is their own fear, all right? They often have some sort of separation, abandonment kind of issues of their own, and they project that onto the child. And the child is glad to absorb it, thank you very much, all right? Now, this causes some interesting acting in problems with children. If you're a little kid and your parent's constantly anxious, how are you going to experience that? I like to tell parents that children get their view of themselves and of their world from the eyes of their parents. And if those eyes are constantly saying, you can't handle this, things are going to be disastrous. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? That child's like taking all this in. They're going, oh my gosh, even mom doesn't think I can handle this. I must not be able to. So that parental anxiety is teaching them things that we're going to have to help them unlearn, okay? Secondly, these kind of parents can be emotionally needy. They can be overprotected because there's something that they need. This is the sort of child still sleeps in the parent's bed kind of scenario, you know? For these kind of parents, a good relationship is a dependent relationship. If we have a good relationship, it means we're all closey, bonded, loving, all the goody stuff, okay? Just kind of Barry Manilow and lava lamps and, you know, that kind of stuff. In other words, they experience love and tenderness as kind of the only dynamic in a relationship. They don't think also about issues of strength or autonomy or we're different or we're independent or we disappoint each other. Those kind of separation issues. Sometimes that's a parent needing comforting emotionally in some ways. Sometimes it's like a bad spousal relationship that the parent turns to his child, whatever. These are emotionally needy parents where strength and independence are not encouraged, just dependency. Thirdly, a way that this can work is an overprotective parent can be over-identified with the child. That's a big one nowadays. This is the parent who has a personal need for this child to be okay, or to succeed, or to have a lot of friends, or for everybody to like them, or for everything to be okay. And they kind of live their life through their child. Maybe they get some sort of self-definition from the child being happy all the time or successful. I actually had a mom in my office this morning who was saying that in her hometown, she said, you know, our children are little and we all have this who's going to be the best mom competition. You know, nobody says it, but we all kind of have this who's the best mom competition. Parents who get a self-definition of now I can be good because my kids are happy. I saw a New Yorker cartoon once, and it showed these cheerleaders standing in front of the parent section at a high school football game. And they were cheering, hang your failing hopes and dreams on your children's high school teams. And that's what we see a lot with these kind of parents. These are the ones whose identity is being a mother. These are the ones who, like, they talk to me and say, we're having trouble getting our homework done. And I'm like, what are you, like you in fourth grade too? You know, they send you back, you know. Or my favorite one is there's a teacher friend of mine told me actually about a mother in their carpool whose license plate was JIMS MOM, Jim's mom. That was her identity. Okay, I just really feel sorry for JIMS WIFE one day. That's neither here nor there. He's going to expect some special treatment. Anyway, these are kind of the pave the way parents. They're overprotective because they really want their child to do great. They'll change schools if the grades aren't good enough. I've seen other parents who did that through med school. We'll just put you in a different med school if you're not getting good grades. But the bottom line is these parents have an emotional need for their kids to be okay. Now, how does all this overprotection affect the child? Acting in version. What does it do to the more withdrawn children to be constantly overprotected all the time? What do you think happens? Pardon me? Yes, exactly. They get withdrawn and needy and frightened. They've learned to believe they can't do it. I was a counselor at Alpine one year when I was in college, and I remember one little boy didn't come on the bus. His mama brought him. And she pulled me aside as we were